What is going on, guys? All right. As always, we are brought to you by BUSR Sportsbook. Bet on everything from the horse racing to the 2020 election. Visit busr.com/going-for-2 to sign up, get a welcome bonus, and bet this weekend's games. We have an awesome show tonight. We have one of Going for Two's own joining us, so stay tuned.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on goingfor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Hey, goingfor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
What is going on, guys? All right, welcome to episode 174 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We are here every Wednesday and Friday night on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, syndicated in all major podcast networks, and of course, streaming in the Going for Two app for iOS and Android. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Steerfoss. Ryan, how's it going tonight, man?
Dude, fantastic. It's coming in a nice, relaxing bye week for me. Just enjoy fantasy and nothing else. No stress. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's right. The Ravens are on a bye this week. That's right. All right. Also joining us, as I mentioned at the top, he is Going for Two's own, and he's also the co-host of the Sunday Morning War Room Show. Hamid, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. Better than my Giants are going to be doing tomorrow against the Eagles. You can find me on Twitter, FFJunkie85, and also I write weekly articles for goingfor2.com, Dynasty, Sell High, Buy Low. Yes,
definitely. And you can follow you, obviously, on Twitter at FFJunkie85 if you want to follow him. It's a great follow, guys. Definitely. So, Hamid, give us a quick rundown on your sort of fantasy history and you know, kind of how you got into this altogether.
Actually, it's funny. So one of my buddies got me introduced to fantasy football. So I was prior service in the military. I retired 2 years ago, and I came back from my deployment at the end of 2013. And my buddies play fantasy football, and they kind of introduced me to it. So I actually started out helping them and giving them advice on fantasy football and researching a ton. Eventually, I got into it. So my first year in the league was in 2014. So I'm playing fantasy football. It's my sixth year playing. My greatest accomplishment I will always be proud of, no matter what happens. I don't care if I don't win any titles anymore. I won a 16-man redraft league 3 years in a row. I did not win last year. But before that one, I was a 3-time champion in a row. So
that's impressive for a 16-teamer. That is nice. I don't even know if I've ever won 3 times in any league in a row. I've won twice in a row, a couple times, but never 3 times. That's pretty awesome. All right, as always, I plugged the War Room Show, which you are on the Sunday morning version of it. But tomorrow night there actually won't be one because Jay and Dan had their Sunday morning show or their Thursday morning show today. They had it right before our show, so there won't be one tomorrow night. But the Sunday morning show, if you want to talk about it a little bit, Hamid, talk about what y'all go over on Sunday mornings.
Sunday mornings we go over all the latest updates as far as the players are injured, reserved, active or inactive, any injuries to keep track of. We kind of go over a rundown of plays of the week. We go over DFS players that are pretty cheap, great values to play, and we also answer any start-sit questions that you may have for that day or Monday.
Yep, definitely. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, we got a jam-packed show as always. Let's jump into the news and notes.
News and notes from around the league.
As always, News and Notes is brought to you by Society Socks. Bold socks with a social cause. For every pair of socks you buy, a pair is given to charity. Visit mysocietysocks.com/armchair and use my promo code armchair to get 50% off your first month subscription. All right, so the first one on here, Ryan. I know we've been talking about him a couple times this past year or during this year, but Tua Tagovailoa is set to start after the bye week, which I think you called it all along, but a little bit unexpectedly because Fitzpatrick was kind of lighting it up. Are you surprised by this move?
No. I mean, it kind of sucks that it happened for Ryan Fitzpatrick for what it did. That's part of the job. This team's playing well. And they're putting him in a situation where he's not thrown to the wolves. I mean, the Dolphins know they're not going to win a Super Bowl, so why not move on to the future if their team show they get to keep the QB upright and their playmakers are there. And the defense is playing good enough where he's not just playing from behind. It's a pretty good situation for him to get into. I'm glad it's happening now because I'm very excited to see him play. I'm just still nervous for week 1 for him because I think you'll see a little bit of gun shyness because he hasn't really been hit since he's been hurt.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of worried about too. What are you doing with their the rest of that team there, Hamid? What are you going to do with them?
So this is the interesting a little bit about Tua very quickly about as far as the offensive line. Of course, his rookie, it's his first game. He's going to be gun shy, like just mentioned. But keep in mind, their quarterback is actually pressured 18.8% of the time on each on total dropbacks. So it's not like Tua is not going to have time to throw the ball. But we can expect short and quick passes, which leads into the answer to your question, which I think the biggest beneficiary here is actually Gesicki. So if you have Gesicki, I can expect his target share to increase a bit. Granted, he's not the best blocking tight end out there, but for an offense that's going to be playing a lot, catch up, because their defense is not too bad, but it's not great enough to hold offenses back. Their schedule is not very kind either. So I do think from this offensive standpoint, if you can somehow, if you're a tight end need team that's been streaming, if you can buy Gesicki somehow right now on a low, I think his value is pretty low right now to buy low on him.
Yeah, I agree there as well. And I didn't realize that I hadn't looked ahead to who they're playing after their bye week, but Jason just mentioned on Facebook that they're matched up with the Rams, and he gets to see Aaron Donald that first week. So, welcome to the league, rookie.
Why would you do that? Aaron Donald's just a wrecker of everything.
Yeah, that's brutal. We did have a quick question too that I want to get to from Jay on YouTube. He wants to know is Gaskins going to get more work? You think, Ryan, with this move?
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing for Gaskins. So they're going to want to keep the pressure off Tua. And Tua showed at Bama that he's one of the rookie. He can actually dump off of the running back, throw to them in different situations. So I think that keeps him involved in the passing game, just from what we saw him in college with Najee Harris, who was a big-time pass catcher for them. So I like it. I like him there, and I think Gaskins could see an uptick in volume.
Yep, definitely. All right, speaking of Gaskins, let's move into another running back that was ruled out. He actually missed the last half of the last game. Raheem Mostert potentially going to be going on IR, missing 3 weeks. Hasty got a lot of work last week, and I know Kyle Senra, who's going for 2, is a big fan of Hasty. And Wilson was not active last week, and apparently he missed practice today. So my question to you, Hamid, is Hasty a waiver wire kind of guy? Is he someone that's going to be valuable, you think, for the next 3 weeks with Mostert out?
I think if you're in a deep league, 14, 16-man league, I think Hasty is worth adding. As far as a 10 or 12-man league is concerned, McKinnon once McKinnon had the two games that McKinnon has started, he had seen at least 62% of the offensive snaps. So McKinnon he's not a 3-down back because of his size and his injury history. But from PPR's perspective, I think McKinnon has a high floor and a relatively high ceiling. Not an RB1 ceiling, but I think he is a plug-and-play just on volume alone in RB2, I think. As far as Hasty's concerned, if you're really in deep leagues, he's worth an ad. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste your fab on him. At this point, he's a free agent, if not already picked up. But if you're really desperate at flex with injuries concerns, yeah, he's worth adding. But me personally, I don't think he's worth adding off of waivers.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. If deep leagues, yes, especially if you're in a deep league and you've got a couple of those guys that are out. Like if you say you had like a Miles Sanders or a Nick Chubb, or like me, I got CMC and Nick Chubb out on my team right now. So possibly Hasty in a 16-team league would be someone you'd want to look at adding, but I'm not buying heavily into that. Sticking with the running back theme, Ryan, Miles Sanders likely to miss a few games. What are you looking at in this backfield with Miles Sanders out?
So the man there is going to be Boston Scott, who everybody went crazy for on waiver wire last night. But I'm not starting him unless I really have to. Yes, Sanders has had a good string of games, but if you look at the Pittsburgh game, he had a 70-yard run. He gassed it up all in one big play. Baltimore game, same thing. He had a couple big runs. Boston Scott's not that kind of back who's super creative and can make things out of nothing. He's a little more of a grinder. Not saying he's not good, but with that offense and the line still being beat up, he's not going to create for himself the way we saw Sanders. So he's still not going to have a huge fantasy value. If you're expecting him to come in and have that kind of production, you're going to be short. If you're desperate for a starter, which a lot of us are, I mean, you feel okay about it, just not great.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, if you have a starting running back for any team right now, you're probably going to play him because it's just that bad right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think Boston.
Temper your expectations.
Yeah, I don't think Boston Scott is going to be Miles Sanders. What do you got, Hamid? What do you want to say?
He's not going to be Miles Sanders. Totally get that. The Giants have allowed a total of 6 touchdowns to run position. That's a combination of 4 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns. And they're giving up over 4 yards a carry to the RB as well. We're not, and this is the Giants. And plus, the Eagles on offense, injuries across the board. Everywhere. So if you have, everywhere. That offensive line can't even give Ertz enough time to throw the ball. So he's going to be throwing. He's not going to be throwing. He won't have time to throw the ball deep. And who is he really throwing to outside of one guy at this point? So I think from a PPR standpoint, I think Boston Scott may not be very efficient, but I think he, like McKinnon, I think he does have a little bit of a higher ceiling until Miles Sanders returns or the wide receivers get healthy in this case. Yeah,
I agree. I think PPR leagues definitely he's got some value there because he will be dumping down Carson Wentz. And that Giants defense, it's not great, but it's not terrible either. I think it's kind of middle of the road. But yeah, I do think that they can get some pressure on Carson Wentz, and he'll have to check it down quite a bit. Sticking with the Eagles theme, Zach Ertz is out 3 to 4 weeks, which if you own Zach Ertz, you probably thought he's been out all season. He hasn't been very good, but does that do anything? I know Goddard's not quite back just yet, but is now the window to buy, you think, Ryan, or do you think you just missed that window already?
I mean, I'd make some offers at him if he was there, because he flashed early in the season before he got hurt. And we saw Ertz look completely washed the last couple of weeks. Like, his age caught up quick. Goddard's there. Once he's playing, he's going to be focal point of that offense with all the beat-up pass catchers. So, yeah, I'm buying him if I can. Chances too late or high, but the price is only going to go up from here.
If you have Zach Ertz in a redraft league, Hamid, are you dropping him now? I mean, he was probably droppable almost before, but now is he definitely a drop because he's missing 3 to 4 weeks?
How though, man? I mean, you can't. He's what, 30 years old? I think Zach Ertz is what, 30 years old.
I think so. Yep.
So he's not Gronk old. I mean, he's not as bad as washed as Gronk is at this point, but given like I said, similar to what I said about the injuries for this team, like I said about Boston Scott. If Zach Ertz is healthy, he wasn't that bad when both Zach Ertz and Goddard were on the field together. If I recall, week 1, Ertz actually had a touchdown in week 1, I believe, with Goddard on the field. It's not like he's going. We all agree he's not a top 3, top 5 tight end anymore. We agree with that. I think he's more of a low tight end 1 as long as Goddard and him are both on the field. Him by himself, we've seen the teams just take him away. They make him the focal point to defend him and stop him and make Wentz throw to somebody else. So I don't think we should totally drop him just yet. I still think he holds low tight end 1 value.
All right, good stuff. All right, 2 quick ones at the end here. We won't spend much time on these guys because they're kind of unfantasy relevant. But Robert Foster, who was kind of the hero in Buffalo a couple years ago, had a couple big plays. Everyone wanted big things from him, but never came to fruition. But the Washington football team, they got injuries at receiver. They recently signed him. Any interest at all in this guy, Ryan, as a dart throw in some of your deeper leagues?
Not really, because he's just a field stretcher for them. You're not going to see volume. And if he plays or has a good game, it's going to be very sporadic. He did it a little bit more in Buffalo last year because he was the only real deep threat at that time other than John Brown. I don't love it there. And Washington isn't the team that stretches the field the way that we saw Buffalo taking all those shots. So I don't love it. I don't love him there fantasy-wise at all. It's a good football move for them, but not for us.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's no fantasy relevance really there at all. I mean, they lost my hype in the beginning of the year. The sleeper Steven Sims, he's on IR still, and then Isaiah Wright took over, and he's now out for a while. So there's Robert Foster's there. He's another player to plug in. Sticking with the receivers, another fast, deep threat kind of guy has asked for a trade, Mr. John Ross for the Cincinnati Bengals. Is there any place he could go to, you think, Hamid, where he could actually gain some value?
The Eagles.
There you go.
Honestly, no. At this point, we knew coming out of college, and I think he holds the record for the fastest 40, right?
4.22. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he holds the record for that. I mean, he's not the best route runner. He's a field stretcher. The thing, what makes Tyreek Hill stand out is the fact that he can use his route running capability and his speed to be an elite receiver. John Ross does not have that. John Ross is a straight burner. And the only team that's going to benefit from that is the team that throws deep. There are not that many teams in this league that throw that deep anymore. So I don't think he has much value anywhere, and he should remain on waivers. And maybe in a dynasty league, stash him, but in redraft, I'm not touching him.
Yeah, I did see one interesting, I think it was Mike Clay actually that tweeted it out, that John Ross for David Njoku, for the Browns would be a good trade because the Bengals need a tight end, and the Cleveland Browns need a deep field stretcher that can sort of open it up. So that would be something that could possibly. I don't know how the numbers line up and if that's even viable or not, but I think it would help us even in fantasy a little bit as well.
Yeah, I like that. So that's a nice trade.
All right, that's it for the news and notes. Let's get into the game previews.
This week's game-by-game previews.
All right, by now you know how this works. I assigned each of them a game to preview. I'm going to ask one question on each game. A few of these games will be featured games, and we'll all kind of talk about those featured games. The featured games aren't necessarily good football games. They're just good games for fantasy. That's why I highlighted those guys. First game, of course, is the Thursday night game, the Giants at the Eagles. And Ryan, I'm going to go to you on this one.
It's time for this or that.
All right, so Mr. Carson Wentz has been struggling this year. I'm gonna give you a couple quarterback names, and you tell me if you prefer Carson Wentz or the other quarterback. So the first one I got, Gardner Minshew, rest of the season. This is redraft, not dynasty. Gardner Minshew, Carson Wentz. Who do you prefer?
Wentz.
Derek Carr, Carson Wentz.
Wentz.
Teddy Bridgewater, Carson Wentz.
Wentz.
Oh, wow. Wentz on all of those. Okay.
Reason for this. So, if you look at Carson Wentz right now, and all the quarterbacks who are healthy, you only have 6 that have scored more than him in fantasy. And he's there with throwing to a bunch of guys off the street, like insurance agents. Like, it's not great. Goddard's coming back. He's coming off IR. Rager's also coming off IR. He's doing this with nothing. If that team gets it together a little bit, and with how bad and the kind of games they've been in, he's going to either stay consistent or get better. And I'm more confident with that. A lot of us analysts, I think, got real distracted with Scott Fishbowl scoring because it made him terrible.
Yeah.
But regular fantasy scoring, he's a fine option.
All right, let me find that line then. I'm going to go name some more names here. Jared Goff.
Wentz.
Still Wentz. All right, Tannehill.
Oof, that's where it gets tough.
That's okay. That's where it is. Tannehill.
I think
That's where it gets tough.
Probably a Tannehill.
Tannehill. Okay. So did you disagree with any of that, Hamid?
Absolutely. Did you guys see my face the whole time? I think Derek. Look, okay. A lot of people are gonna probably disagree with me here, but I think Derek Carr is a forgotten guy here. I mean, I would actually like Derek Carr more than Wentz rest of the year. And mind you, my analysis is strictly fantasy. I don't do much analysis from a real football standpoint. One, look at his schedule coming up, and also the rest of the season into the playoffs. Derek Carr's schedule compared to Carson Wentz is significantly easier from a quarterback standpoint. And outside of, I think, 1 week, I think Derek Carr has been a low to mid QB1 throughout this year. Granted, he's not throwing it deep as much. I mean, this past week, Henry Ruggs had two receptions for 118 yards and a touchdown, I think it was.
Yep.
But given how many times he's throwing the ball, I think he's attempting an average about 33 attempts per game. And that number is only going to increase with that defense not being able to, protect against any offenses. So I actually feel like Derek Carr's output significantly more than Wentz for the rest of the year.
All right, fair enough.
I just don't trust the Eagles' offensive line to keep Wentz healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, upright.
That's a good point. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. Giants at Eagles. Who you got?
Eagles.
Hamid?
Eagles, unfortunately, as a Giants fan.
I'm actually going with the Giants on this one. I don't know why. I coming into the season, I like Daniel Jones a lot, and I'm not willing to give up that love just yet. I think Jones and the Giants get this done this week. All right, next game up is the Cowboys at the Redskins, and that brings up our prop bet of the week.
BUSR.com. Prop bet of the week.
All right, Hamid, this is going to go to you. More passing yards, Andy Dalton or Kyle Allen in this game?
As crazy as this is going to sound, I'm going to go with Andy Dalton. I think the Cardinals defense is surprisingly, I looked this up, they're actually a top 5 defense this year so far in the league. So as far as this matchup is going to be significantly easier, I think he should be able to move the ball significantly more easier. And also, the Cowboys defense is actually starting to get a little bit more healthy. They're actually getting some stars back on defense as well, which I think will help them as well. And also the Redskins. Who do they have on offense again? Outside Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson.
That's about
Antonio
it.
Gibson, by the way, has not seen more than 60% of the snap share on offense yet. So until they don't start using him, I'm not really worried about him either. Neither the Cowboys probably. So I think this is a much easier matchup. I think Andy Dalton moves the ball more and has more passing yards.
All right. Ryan, what are you going with? Andy Dalton or Kyle Allen, more passing yards?
I'm going with Andy Dalton just off of the surrounding talent. I know the Redskins have significantly better defense, but I mean, he's throwing to Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Schultz. There's so many weapons there, man. He's bound to just get involved a little bit, and you have literally just Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I'm with you both. I think that the weapons is what kind of makes or breaks this for me. Is you have those, CeeDee Lamb, I think, had a big catch and run in the last game where he caught a 2-yard, 3-yard pass and then took it for a couple like 30 yards, I think. So yeah, I think Dalton can get those kind of guys involved, and I think that Dalton does have eventually more passing yards than Kyle Allen. All right, let's pick this game. Cowboys at Redskins. Who you got, Ryan?
Cowboys.
And
I'm saying great about it.
I'm saying Redskins again. It's the Washington football team. I don't know why I keep doing that. All right. So you got Cowboys. Who you got?
It pains me as a Giants fan. Cowboys.
Yeah, I think I'm going Cowboys as well. I think Andy Dalton has a bounce back game. I think he was a little shell shocked in this last game. So yeah, give me the Cowboys as well. All right, Steelers at Titans, and this is a featured game. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first.
It's time for This or That.
This or that, rest of season, Deontay Johnson, who is healthy now, or Chase Claypool?
Go Chase Claypool. I mean, the way he's been used the last 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, he's had 4 and 11 targets, and he's becoming more staple in that offense. Snap count's going up. He has that monster big play potential, and Ben likes throwing deep when he has a chance. I like him there. Right now he's leading the Steelers in yards, and he's catching up on targets to Juju. Deontay's a little beat up, and I think the rest of the season, Claypool's looking like the guy there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Claypool is also the better red zone threat for sure. He's he's huge. That's the deal breaker for me right there.
He's also getting touches and carries as well in the running game.
Good point. He has even a rushing touchdown, I think, this year.
Yeah, they're finding ways.
Yep.
When teams are finding a way to get you the ball, that's a good sign.
Yep. Definitely. All right, Hammond, on the other side of things, for the Titans, Corey Davis is set to return this week. And, of course, we have the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Colts all on bye this week. A few injured receivers as well. Is Corey Davis a viable bye-week fill-in? I mean, he was before, but now I think AJB's back. He's healthy. But is Corey Davis something that you're looking at for a bye-week fill-in?
I'll tell you what, even if A.J. Brown was out, I still would not pick him as a bye-week filler. Against the Steelers, absolutely not. That defense is a top 5 defense, and they're going to pressure Tannehill a ton. And this offense does go through Derrick Henry, as we all know. And then, of course, the wide receiver one for this team is, of course, A.J. Brown. And Jonnu Smith, who I have predicted for the longest time was going to lead this team outside A.J. Brown in targets, is the number 2. So I don't see how you can use Corey Davis here. You're banking on a touchdown, just praying to God he has one. Otherwise, he's not worth filling in for your waivers.
Yep.
For your bye week.
All right, yeah, I think I went on the opposite side of the fence on this one, and I'll tell you why. Not just to not to.
You love Corey Davis.
Oh, I do love Corey Davis. We all know that. But that Steelers pass defense is not as good as people think it is. I think I said on my DFS show. Yeah, my DFS show. I think they were like 19th DVOA against the pass. They've given us some really big games. And I think they're going to shut down Derrick Henry. I think they're going to have to pass the ball in this game. And Corey Davis, is a decent receiver. We showed it in the beginning of the season. Tannehill's looking his way now. I know AJB is still there too, but they're going to try to take him away. And if Jonnu Smith, I haven't heard if he's actually in yet or not. I think he was injured. So if he's out, I definitely want Corey Davis in there. I think he'll get some targets. All right, let's pick this game. Bills at Jets. Ryan, who you got?
You think I've learned my lesson for picking against Steelers the last couple weeks.
Right.
But
I said Bills at Jets. I meant Steelers at Titans, of course. I'm getting ahead of myself. Steelers at Titans.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Titans. They're just an enigma right now. They're playing good football all around, and I think this is their first time kind of relaxed and be at home a little bit. And they beat some really good teams.
Yep.
I don't think Steelers are where the Chiefs and the others are yet. I think the Titans win. All
right, Steelers at Titans. Who you got?
After what the Titans did against the Bills on a short week, if they're even 80% of that team against the Steelers, Titans win this game. I'm picking Titans.
Yep, I'm taking Titans as well, so we'll sweep it. As I said, I got ahead of myself. The Bills at the Jets is the next game on here, and I got one question for Ryan.
Cut them or keep them?
Cut them or keep them. John Brown, who hasn't had a fantasy relevant game since I think week 2. He's put up a couple zeros, including last week. He still has that big playability, but are you going to keep him on your bench for a while, Ryan? Hope he kind of gets back that juju, that mojo.
I mean, I'm going to keep him on a very short leash. Like, unless there's somebody I really want out there right now, I'm going to keep him. But he's coming back off a knee injury. Maybe he needs a couple weeks to get fully healthy. So, listen, I'll give him a little bit of a time, but not much.
All right.
That's the Stephon Diggs show.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm with you as well. I think John Brown he had some good weeks in the beginning there when Allen was kind of lighting it up. This is a game that against the Jets, they probably don't got to pass too much. They're probably going to have to just run the ball anyway. So I think John Brown has a third consecutive or fourth consecutive game that's not fantasy relevant. So yeah, I think I'm with you. Hold him for a little bit longer, see if he can get back into this offense. But otherwise, I think he's definitely droppable. All right, let's pick this game, Hamid. Bills at Jets. Who you got?
Bill, anybody against the Jets every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, you taking the Bills too? I got the Bills as well.
Yeah.
That one. Make that one quick.
Yeah. There's no argument there.
All right, Panthers at Saints for the last game before the commercial break here, and I'm going to go to you on this one, Hamid.
It's time for this or that.
We're looking at two receivers on opposite sides here. DJ Moore, rest of season, or Robbie Anderson, rest of season? Which one do you want?
So this is an interesting stat. Well, when I saw this question, I was doing a little bit of research, and I came across an interesting stat here. Both of these players actually have games where they finished outside of. Well, Robbie Anderson had one game outside of a low RB3, a wide receiver 3, and then he had a wide receiver 4 game. DJ Moore had 2 games outside of wide receiver 3. Otherwise, he's played above that standard. So it's not that DJ Moore has been bad, or Robbie Anderson has just been that much better, and he's exceeded expectations and returned great value in redraft. As far as rest of season, Robbie Anderson's target share is not dropping, and DJ Moore isn't either. But the problem is that Robbie Anderson, if last week was any indication, Robbie Anderson did only have 5 targets. Granted, he did face up against Kyle Fuller. So I think for the rest of the year, I still think I'm not going to hold one game against Robbie Anderson. I'm taking Robbie Anderson the rest of the year. I still think he maintains that target share that he has as a wide receiver 1. And surprisingly, the offensive line for the Panthers has held up really well. So give me Robbie Anderson the rest of the year.
All right. And Ryan, I want to ask you the same question because I know you're a big DJ Moore guy. Well, who are you taking rest of the season?
I was really hoping you're skipping me completely on this. Because I can't look through this with rose-colored glasses for DJ Moore because my huge football crush on him. But Robbie Anderson's really clicking in that offense, man. I think I'd get Robbie Anderson. They're really close for me. I don't know if I think he's going to finish as wide receiver 1, but he has that huge game potential, and I love that there. And he's getting enough targets where he's getting you a nice floor as well.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I take Robbie Anderson as well in this offense, and it pains me because in the offseason I'd give up on Robbie Anderson, and I actually traded him away for a third-round pick, and now I'm wishing I had him on my team because I can use him right about now. But yeah, I think Robbie Anderson seems to have the whatever it is that that getting away from Adam Gase, and he's having a great season so far. So yeah, give me Robbie Anderson for sure. All right, let's pick this game. Hamed, who you got? Panthers at Saints.
I really went back and forth on this it's just probably the toughest decision I had to make, and I want, my heart says Panthers, my brain says Saints. I'm going with the Saints here, but it's really close.
All right, Ryan, who you got? Panthers at Saints.
I got the Saints still. They're still a good football team who's just kind of not played up to the potential this year.
And they get MT back.
Hashtag slant boy.
Yeah, that's why I'm going with Saints here. I think MT actually opened some things up there, and Drew Brees has his safety blanket back, so I think the Saints do win this game. I think it'll be closer than we would have thought a few weeks ago, but I do think the Saints still get this one. All right, guys, quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll do the rest of the game, so hold tight. What's up, everyone? Jeff Lambert here, and I want to tell you about Society Socks. Is your sock drawer kind of boring? I know mine is. Society Socks is a men's sock subscription company that sends 2 pairs of exclusively designed socks to your door every month. These socks are made of a warm, soft, and comfortable blend of combed cotton, guaranteed to make your feet feel and look great. At the office or the bar, your socks are sure to be a hit. You might be wondering, why are they called Society Socks? Well, that's the best part. Socks are one of the most needed and least donated items at homeless shelters. Society Socks aims to change that. With every pair of socks purchased, another pair of socks is donated to homeless shelters. So on top of receiving awesome socks every month and amping up your sock drawer, you are actively making a positive change in society. With 2 surprise pairs of socks arriving at your door every month, you'll begin to grow an impressive sock collection. Visit mysocietySocks.com/armchair and enter our promo code ARMCHAIR to get 50% off your first subscription. Put an end to boring socks and subscribe today. Again, that's mysocietysocks.com/armchair and use promo code ARMCHAIR. All right, what's up? We are back, and I'm here with Ryan and Hamid, and we're breaking down the Week 7 slate, and we are at the Packers and Texans now, and this is a featured game. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first.
It's time for This or That.
All right, this or that. Same thing as before with the quarterback. I'm going to give you a couple tight ends. You're going to compare them to Robert Tonyan and tell me which one you prefer rest of season, either Tonyan or the other tight end. So first one I got is Tyler Higby.
I'm going to take Tanya. I think the Rams' whole pass catching situation is a huge question mark because there's so many talented ones. It doesn't give me the confidence in Higby.
All right, what about Hunter Henry?
Hunter Henry, the volume's there. Last week he had a tough matchup. He had 8 targets, though, for a fairly bad week. He's had 2 other games with 8 targets. He had 7 targets another game. He gets a lot of volume, man. And it's only going to get better with Herbert improving.
All right. What about Evan Ingram for the Giants?
I'm taking Tanya just because I trust what Aaron Rodgers is doing there a little bit better, more than Daniel Jones.
All right. And finally, the new hotness who finally got his touchdown last week, Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's last out of that whole thing. Let's come on.
I love the nickname.
People are hyping him up. That's all I heard about all week is how Gronkowski's back and this is going to be Tom Brady Rob Gronkowski connection like it was in the Patriots again. And I'm not buying it either. I just wanted to put him on there just to see what you thought of it. All right, so let's go to the other side of the ball here.
It's time for This or That.
Once again, comparing two receivers on the same side of the ball. Brandon Cooks rest of season or Will Fuller, Hamid?
I still gotta go Will Fuller. Granted, Brandon Cooks has been heating up in like the past couple of weeks now, but the risk you run with Will Fuller, of course, is injury with his hamstrings, of course, soft tissue injuries he has that history with. But it's hard for me to overlook Will Fuller, the chemistry that he has with Deshaun Watson already. It's hard for me to fade from him. This defense is terrible. It could support both of them, and don't get me wrong, but give me Will Fuller's upside.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. He's finally remained healthy for more than a couple weeks, so I think Will Fuller, we've seen how efficient he is when he's actually on the field. Brandon Cooks, he has that big playability. He has those monster games, but we've seen him have those games where he doesn't do much of anything either, so I think Will Fuller is the safer bet there. I think Brandon Cooks is probably your cheap DFS play because he's much cheaper on DraftKings and DFS. He has that huge upside, so I think, if we're talking DFS, Brandon Cooks, but Will Fuller for season long for sure. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. Packers at Texans.
I'm taking the Texans. I think that the letting Bill O'Brien go is the best thing to happen to that team. And you're kind of just seeing with a mediocre coach compared to a terrible coach, the improvement in 1 week. I think they keep rolling.
All right, Packers at Texans, Hamid, who you got?
I gotta go Packers. I believe the Packers have a better defense, I think. And I'm more of a defensive. I like teams with better defenses. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going the Packers too, or I might be getting divorced because my wife's a Packers fan, so give me the Packers. All right, next game is the Browns at the Bengals. And Ryan, I'm going to you on this one.
Cut them or keep them.
All right, this one I gave to Ryan especially because I know how much he likes this guy, but he's been out-targeted over the last 3 weeks by Austin Hooper. Mr. Jarvis Landry, cut him or keep him?
Dude, I might be cutting Landry. It's been bad. Nothing his floor he's always had is now kind of his ceiling. He's getting targets, but it's 6 targets end up in 36 yards. And Baker Mayfield looks atrocious. Everything there is just bad right now. I don't want any parts of it. I'm going to try to trade him because name value, but it's gross.
Yeah, I think you can probably package him in with a trade. What are your thoughts on that one, Hamid?
I have to disagree. I'd rather cut T.Y. Hilton at this point than Jarvis Landry.
I don't want to talk about T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
Let's just not talk about him tonight.
Granted, he's been out-targeted. I totally get that by Austin Hooper in the last couple of weeks, but he's still seeing a decent amount of offensive snap share participation of over 70%, except for since week 2, he's seen over 70% of the offensive snaps. He's seen the targets. Granted, the volume is not double digits. I don't think he's seen double-digit targets at all this year. I think his high is actually 9, which was week 5.
Yeah, the Colts game.
So granted, his ceiling is not there anymore that he had from last year. But I think some of that has to do with the hip injuries he's coming off of. I don't even think they ever said he's 100% healthy coming into the season to begin with. So don't be surprised if we just see a second half mini surge from Jarvis Landry where he does start performing a little bit better from what he's doing right now.
Yeah, that's a good point with the hip there because you're right. I mean, there's the talk in the offseason at one point that he wasn't going to be ready for the beginning of the season. They're talking about PUP lists and everything else. So maybe he's not fully healthy and maybe he does have that sort of second half breakout. So if you have the room on your bench, stash him and hold on to him for a little while. Browns at Bengals, Ryan.
Can I ask just one more question about this?
Yep, go ahead.
T.Y. Hilton, John Brown, or Jarvis Landry, who you keep? You got to cut the other two.
Landry.
You're keeping Landry, Ryan?
Out of those 3, yeah.
John Brown, T.Y. Hilton, Landry.
Yeah, I think it's Landry for me as well. Yeah, I think the volume is still there for him, where T.Y. Hilton and John Brown have seen their kind of volume kind of deplete quite a bit. All right, let's pick this game. Browns at Bengals, Ryan. Who you got?
Oof. I think we'll take the Browns. I know they just got demoralized this week, and the Bengals are playing pretty good football, and Burrow looks great. But they still have zero resemblance in the team defense. So we'll go Browns.
All right. Browns at Bengals. Who you got, Hamid?
I love the words you guys use, by the way. Absolutely love it. Give me the Bengals, actually. I think the Bengals are overall a better team. I do think the Browns, of course, have a better defense, but I do like where the Bengals are heading as far as from an offensive standpoint. A.J. Green moving to the slot, I think that did wonders for him. 896 stat line. Give me the Browns. I mean the Bengals, sorry.
All right, I think I'm going Bengals as well. I mean, I feel bad for Joe Burrow. I mean, he's had this team in positions to win in multiple games this year, and you know something always happens. I mean, they had the Colts dead to rights, and then the Colts come back, and it just I couldn't believe that happened to him. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Bengals here. They finally get a victory here.
He's playing winning football. They're not.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. All right, Lions at Falcons. This is a featured game, but we're going to talk about the same player. So let's hit this drop.
Breakout or fake out?
All right, I'm going to go to you first, Ryan. Breakout or fake out on Mr. Deandre Swift, who finally had a game that we could actually use for fantasy, but of course no one started him.
I might have been. I've been excited about that breakout as I've been any this season, minus Justin Jefferson. He was my RB1 pre-landing spot this season. The talent's there. He has big play potential. He can create space. He's fantastic in the passing game, which sucks. He's had 4 games over 4 targets this season. But now with some volume in the rushing game, he has a minimum RB2 value for you here on forward with more upside if the volume comes. 14 carries and 4 targets. That's a really good game for him just because of that burst and that big playability. He doesn't need 30 touches to have a big fantasy week. You get in that 20 range, it's fantastic. So he's a breakout for me.
All right, good stuff. What about you, Hamid?
Here's interesting stuff for you guys. Coming into week 7, Swift has 1 game where he has more than 10 total touches, and he has only 1 game where he finished under RB28 for that week. This guy is extremely efficient. I think eventually this team has to recognize his potential. The issue is his snaps on the offensive side. He hasn't seen more than 41.5% of the offensive snaps at all in any week this year, including last week when he saw 37.1% of the offensive snaps, which is maddening, very maddening. And he still finished RB3 for the week, guys. That's what's so confusing. So, but yeah, I think the breakout's going to be coming. We just need to see a snap share increase.
I'm with y'all as well. I think the breakout is finally here. I mean, they have to recognize the talent. I mean, it's just like, how do you not see that? How do you go back to Adrian Peterson, who's like 175 years old now, and Kerryon Johnson, who's like a little washed up already, even though he's still young. But yeah, I mean, how do you? I don't know. Anybody with any eyeballs can tell that this guy's better than those other 2 running backs. So stop putting him in there and just give the ball to Swift for sure. All right, let's move into the next game, and this is the Seahawks at the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to pick it. Yeah, we got to pick it. Ryan, Lions at Falcons. Who you got?
I'm going to pick the Lions just because their terrible defense is a little bit less terrible. But both teams can put up a lot of points. But the Falcons are one of the worst defenses in the league, especially for the passing game. I think Matt Stafford just carves them up.
All right, yeah. I like it. Lions at Falcons. Who you got, Hamid?
I'm going to go the other way around for the opposite reason that Ryan just said. I think the Falcons' offense is the Lions' offense in this game. So I'm taking the Falcons.
All right, yeah, I think I'm going Falcons as well. And as long as Julio's playing, Matt Ryan seems to be like the best quarterback in the league. Who the hell is this guy? It's crazy how much he was much better with Julio on the field. That whole offense was better. I mean, even Calvin Ridley seemed to be better with Julio on the field too. So yeah, I'm going to go Falcons as well on this one. Seahawks at Cardinals.
It's time for this or that.
All right, this was kind of a tongue-in-cheek one here because, I mean, obviously these guys are both great players, and I'm just trying to see on a dynasty perspective right now, you have the older guy and the younger guy, Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. If you were starting a dynasty team today, Hamid, who do you want?
Man, when you threw this question at me, I was like, wow, like, how do you pick between these 2 guys? It's like, it's okay. I'm going to make my point really simple because Dynasty is not, if you read my articles, you see that Dynasty is not only about age, it's not only about the teams around you, but it's also about salary cap. And that was one of my deciding factors in making this decision as far as who I would lean towards. In this case, I would lean more towards Kyler Murray in this case. The Seattle Seahawks actually only have $3.9 million in salary cap space versus the Arizona Cardinals, who have $8.9. So the Arizona Cardinals do have more room to work with to build this team to be even better for the long haul. They just traded for DeAndre Hopkins, and of course they're going to be keeping him. They're not going to release him anytime soon, of course. And granted, Kenny Drake, he's also that whole nucleus of offense outside Larry Fitzgerald, who's like the Frank Gore of that team. He never gets old, apparently. That team is very young. I think for the longevity standpoint, I'm taking Kyler Murray.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm with you, too. I think it's tough. I mean, because Russell Wilson's not exactly old. He's not Tom Brady or Drew Brees. He's still young enough to be a good quarterback for a very long time. But, yeah, I think if you get Kyler Murray, your dynasty league, I think you got 15 years plus of a good quarterback. So, yeah, I think it's Kyler Murray for me as well. All right, let's pick this game, Ryan. Seahawks at Cardinals.
Seahawks. I refuse to pick against Russell Wilson right now.
It's a good point.
The way he's playing.
It's a good point. Seahawks at Cardinals, Hamid.
Given how the Cardinals actually got off to a slow start in that first quarter of the game against the Cowboys, that was a little bit worrisome, but they got their act together later on, thanks to Drake. Over in that case, though, but give me the Seahawks in this case against the Cardinals.
Yeah, it pains me to pick the Seahawks because they're a rival. Of course, the Cardinals are also in our division, but they haven't been good for very long. So the Seahawks, like Ryan said, Russell Wilson's hard to pick against. He's just too damn good. 49ers at Patriots. I left this one for myself.
Cut them or keep them.
If y'all watch my DFS show or if you watch any of our off-season shows, you know how high I was on this guy, N'Keal Harry. I've been hoping that he would break out. I've been calling it every week in my column for Fantasy Pros that he's going to break out finally. Last week was sort of the end-all be-all. If he doesn't break out last week, I'm giving up on him, so I am giving up on him. I am cutting N'Keal Harry finally. I just don't think... I mean, if you have him in a Dynasty League, he's worth holding on to. But if you're in a redraft league, cut N'Keal Harry, get somebody else in there, get the new... What's the new hotness right now? Fulgham from the Eagles, if you can get him for N'Keal Harry. Fogeltron, I'm hurting his nickname is now, so I think N'Keal Harry has to go. So it's...
Stop. Oh, my God, stop those nicknames. Just stop.
I gotta come next time ready with nicknames. I'm so unprepared.
Dude. We got Mapletron. We got that now. Stop.
Yeah. All right, guys. 49ers at Patriots. Ryan, who you got?
I'm going to take 49ers.
That's it? No analysis?
Patriots.
All right, good
No,
stuff.
just taking the Niners.
All right. Hamid, who you got?
Yeah, 49ers, I mean, they're healthy on offense, except for, of course, losing Mostert, which sucks. But I think the Niners win this game.
So I picked against my Niners last week and reverse jinxed them into a win. I can't do it this week. I can't pick the Patriots. I'm going Niners as well. So give me the Niners in this one.
Dude.
What are you going to say, Ryan?
I said so you're not a trader this week.
Yeah, I'm not a trader this week. I was doing it on purpose last week. I reverse jinxed us into a win. All right, Jags at Chargers.
It's time for this or that.
All right, Ryan, this or that for this week only. Gardner Minshew or Justin Herbert? Who are you going with?
Oh, I didn't read that this week only. I'm going to Justin Herbert still. I love what that kid's doing. I know Minshew's throwing 40 times a game, but Herbert's going to have to keep pace, and those weapons there are getting healthy. Keenan Allen's there now. We got Mike Williams back, who he already has connection with. Hunter Henry's healthy, and they don't really have the running game. So I love him there to sling the ball around. It's going to be a fun game. I don't think you can go wrong with either, but I'm going Herbert.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, that Herbert's got the advantage of is the Jags' defense is just absolutely atrocious. I think the Chargers' defense is actually pretty
really
decent.
bad.
Yeah, the Jags give up points to everybody, so I think Herbert has a much easier chance finding his big play receivers. Keenan Allen hopefully is healthy. That'll definitely help as well. Jags at Chargers, Hamid, who you got?
Oh, Chargers. Definitely Chargers.
Chargers for you too, Ryan?
Yeah.
Chargers for me as well. Sweep it. Chiefs at Broncos.
It's time for this or that.
And Hamid, I'm going to you on this one. I gave you a couple of these ones, I guess. Two receivers from the same team once again. the young rookie Jerry Jeudy, or the guy that no one really knew who he was. He's been injured a bunch, but Tim Patrick. Which one are you starting this week?
This week I gotta go with Tim Patrick. As crazy as that sounds, not only is he in the past 2 weeks doing better than Jeudy in not only air yards but also total yards, and he's a player who's been finishing inside what he's had 101 yards and he's over 100 yards both games. So I stay with the hot hand here. And keep in mind, he was up against Stephon Gilmore last week, and he's still 93.4% of his routes were covered by Stephon Gilmore, and he still had over 100 yards with almost 200 air yards. If he can do that against Gilmore, give me him this week as well.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I think Patrick has shown that even when he's covered by the top cornerbacks, he does still find a way to get open. He's always been good. I mean, it seems like he was good a couple years ago too, and he gets hurt.
That's right.
He just gets hurt so much, and if he could stay healthy, I like Tim Patrick a lot. Pick this game: Chiefs at Broncos. Anyone going Broncos in this one with the upset?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, Chiefs for everybody there. Bucks at Raiders. It's a featured game. And Ryan, I'm going to go to you on this one. Does Fournette have any value left whatsoever in fantasy? Is he just somebody that we just given up on completely?
It's a hard question. Right now, it's looking towards no, because one, he's beat up. He's not getting the reps in practice, and Ronald Jones is playing fantastic football. He's RB 5 or 6 in rushing yards right now. He's having the best best season so far in his career. If something happens to him, I can see Fournette getting the opportunity, not giving it back. But right now, other than the short yardage back and goal line carries, which I know are nice, but there's still volume included with that, where I'm not counting on that on a week-to-week basis. I don't love him on my team. Deep rosters, I'll have him as the last roster spot, but he's just a handcuff now.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it hurts because I took him in the Scott Fish Bowl, and now he's pretty much useless. I think I got him in the 3rd round in the Scott Fish Bowl, and I was happy to get him in the 3rd round. I wish now I'd gone elsewhere, because I got Joe Mixon in the 1st round, so my Scott Fish Bowl team has been struggling this year for sure. All right, so let's go to the other side of the ball.
Breakout or fake out?
Breakout or fake out, Mr. Henry Ruggs, who had a huge game last week. I think you mentioned earlier he had 2 receptions, but he had 118 yards and a touchdown. Breakout or fake out rest of the season, Hamid?
I can't buy on the breakout. This was Dynasty, yes, I think he's a star for Dynasty. Derek Carr has proven again this year, like he did last year, he's not a player that's going to throw the ball deep. One of the touchdowns that Henry Ruggs had last week was a 72-yard touchdown. So unless Derek Carr starts airing it out more, I can't buy in the breakout for Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, I think I talked about this a little bit in the offseason, and so did Ryan, that he's going to be that volatile guy, at least early on in his career, where he's going to have those big plays and those big weeks. He's a good DFS dart throw, but in season long, he's kind of hard to start right now, so I'm with you on that one. All right, let's pick this game. We got the Bucks at the Raiders, Ryan. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Bucks. Both are playing really good football right now, but the Bucks just seem to be clicking. And they low-key have one of the best defenses in the league right now. They're playing lights out. So I think there's a little bit better overall team. And it's really weird to say that about the Bucks.
All right, Bucks at Raiders. Hamid, who you got?
Even though the Raiders lost one of their starting offensive linemen, I'm taking the Raiders here.
Wow, okay. I'm going back and forth on this one because I want to take the Raiders so bad. And I do think that they have a chance to win this game. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it. I'm going with the Raiders as well. I'm going to take Raiders against Tom Brady and the Bucks. I was going to pick the Bucks, but let's just do it. Let's go Raiders. And just real quick, while we're on this game,
there you go.
I wanted Gerson real quick asked a question on Facebook or on YouTube, Brian, and I want to ask you. It's about your Ravens who are on a bye. But how long are we waiting for J.K. Dobbins? Are you giving him a few more weeks, or you think that it's going to be a whole year before we actually see him?
Dude, I hope it's sooner rather than later. I just did a breakdown of him that's pinned on my wall. He's been so efficient. Like, he's top 10 in multiple efficiency categories in the NFL, and he's their top receiving running back for the Ravens right now. Like, he's slowly going to get there. if Ingram's not still nicked up for the Steelers-Ravens game and Dobbins shows out, that could change things. But if we wait a week and Ingram gets healthy or is healthy for that, it's a different story. Like, he needs a full game load opportunity, I think, to take it.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I think Dobbins is that
so
guy.
I don't feel great.
Yeah, Dobbins is that guy that he's like the DeAndre Swift right now, where we're just kind of waiting for that breakout huge game where he's just like, okay, we got to get this guy in the field. So hopefully that comes pretty soon here so we can get that.
And unlike Swift, though, he's not with an over-the-hill running back and another scrub. Like, it's different. He is with two backs who are running efficiently.
Yeah, well, three if you include Lamar Jackson.
Unlike Swift, though, he's on a team that's running the ball the most in the league. Although those numbers are down, they're still leading the league, which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But also, he is seeing at least more of the offensive snaps than at least Swift is. I think he's seeing no fewer than 26% of the offensive snaps every single week, and he's getting the touches just not enough to be relevant. Yeah. So unfortunately, we're just holding him until he, has that opportunity, which won't happen this year.
Buy him in Dynasty now.
Oh
yeah.
Just keep putting off.
Yep, someone will give him up eventually.
Just frustrate them.
Just frustrate. Just wear them down.
There you go. All right, last game, Bears at the Rams. And Hamid, I just wrote this down. Cam Akers last week, 0 touches, only 1 snap after the coach came out and said that he'd get more work this week. And I just wrote down, what the fuck? Like, just talk about Cam Akers for me a little bit. Like, what the hell's going on there?
Keep in mind, this was his first game since week 2. So, I mean, yeah, the coach did say that he was going to get him more touches, and get him more involved. Totally understand that. 18.5% of his offensive snaps, which was more than what he saw week 2 when, of course, he got hurt, so disregard that. But he did have 9 carries, but unfortunately 0 targets, and that's the frustrating part. They're not even using him in the passing game, which is making it very difficult for us to even trust him right now. And WTF is the exact reaction you should have as a Cam Akers owner after what the coach said. And Sean McVay's history has shown that he's actually not someone who just says it to say it. He actually means what he says. So this was a little bit surprising. I know my buddies did start him in their flex, so it did hurt them. But he did, for what it's worth, did have a total of 61 yards. So he wasn't a total bust from a football standpoint.
I think
we're hoping to see that from a fans.
I think he might be a week behind because he actually had 0 touches this past game and didn't do anything at all. He had a big fat 0 in his last line. I think.
I meant to say the week before that. Sorry, that's what I meant. Sorry, but yeah, I don't know why, and that makes no sense whatsoever after what the coach said, that they were going to get him more touches. But I wouldn't lose faith. The talent is there. He's very talented, but Henderson's actually doing really well as well. Yeah. So it's going to be a frustrating year for him. He's not going to be what you expected when you drafted him.
No, he definitely not, because I have him in my league. Like I said, I started him in my main dynasty league because I had Kamara on a bye and I got Christian McCaffrey and Nick Chubb on IR. I had no one else to start, so I had to put Cam Akers in there, and I had Cam Akers and Damian Harris for my starting running backs this past week. Somehow found a way to win the game still, but it was rough watching that game and not seeing him even get into the game. I mean, it was ridiculous watching him. All right, Ryan, going back to you on the other side of things.
It's time for This or That.
And just to pull back the curtain a little bit, we talked about before the show that some reason I gave Ryan a bunch of tight end questions. It wasn't intentional, but we do have another tight end question here for you, Ryan. Rest of season, I'm going to compare these guys to Jimmy Graham. You tell me if you want Jimmy Graham or the other guy rest of season. The first one is Mike Gesicki.
Jimmy Graham. Graham's playing a little bit better than Gesicki. He has more consistent volume and is better.
All right. Dalton Schultz?
Dalton Schultz, man. Dalton Schultz has got a ton of volume. He's in an offense that's throwing the ball an absolute ton. He's had double-digit target games this year. I like his role in that offense.
All right. What about Eric Ebron?
He's too low in the pecking order for me to want, so I'm going Jimmy Graham.
All right, yeah, I think that's where I put the line as well, just based on volume. Jimmy Graham's getting his points through touchdowns, which he's kind of always been that guy, at least since he left the Saints. But I do think I think that's where I put the line as well. All right, let's pick this game. Bears at Rams. Who you got, Hamid?
This was a little hard for me to pick. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I'm taking the Rams, but I don't like it.
All right. Ryan, who you got?
Yeah, The Bears are the ugliest 5-1 team we've seen in the league. So look at Rams. I can't get into that believe in the Bears.
How are they 5-1?
Yeah,
they're like the worst 5-1 team I've ever seen.
I just don't understand.
Yeah,
I've never seen a team 5-1 with a QB controversy.
Yeah, it is crazy how they just keep finding ways to win. I'm going to go Rams as well after their terrible outing against us last week. They're going to bounce back.
We're all gonna miss it.
Well, yeah. What was that?
We're all gonna miss it.
Yeah, I know exactly.
We're all gonna miss it.
Bears will find a way to win. Exactly. All right, let's get to our listener questions. And before we get to the ones that I have on the show sheet there, we do have one more question in the chat roll on YouTube from Gerson again. He needs to start two of these guys. He's got Justin Jackson, DeAndre Swift, and Antonio Gibson. Hamid, who are you starting out of those three guys?
Start two?
Start two, yep. So basically, who are you benching out of those three?
I hate to say this. I'm benching Swift. Just because of volume.
Wow, I didn't expect that. I think I'm benching Justin Jackson just because I think Swift and Gibson have upside, but I like that, to being bold there. What about you, Ryan?
Go with volume.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be playing Swift and Gibson because of the upside. Honestly, I feel most comfortable with Swift out of all of them because Gibson's still kind of in a timeshare too. So, but he's in a better offense and in a great matchup.
All right, and I'm benching Justin Jackson, and I prefer Swift and Gibson as well. All right, another question we had from Josh Sec15 on Twitter. He says he's the owner of Akers and Henderson. He wants to know, does he sell high on Henderson or does he hold for a while? He said Akers looked good a couple weeks ago, and he only gets one snap this past week, but maybe he gets some more snaps going forward. So are you selling high on Henderson, Ryan?
Yeah, I am, because if he's still getting the enough trade bait and people interested where you have value for him, and we still see Malcolm Brown getting carries. We'll see Akers games. I think it's something of back and forth. It's nobody I want to plant a flag on. If it's Dynasty, only when I want Akers, really. I think the other ones are sells because they're going to be in and out of that offense.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Sell high on Henderson now. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's going to continue this pace. So sell him while you can. Get whatever you can for him. All right, and I didn't give Ryan this one because it's a tight end question. I wanted to change it up a little bit. This is from Heather on Facebook. She needs to drop either Singletary or Devontae Parker for a tight end this week. Her options are Ferkser, Fant, Rodgers. I'm guessing Rodgers from the
Richard Rodgers.
Yeah, Richard Rodgers. Yeah, or Cook, Jared Cook. Which of those four guys?
Jared Cook.
Which of those four guys?
First of all, if you have an easy matchup this week against your opponent, don't drop either of them. Just keep them and take the hit if you have to. Because any one of these guys you pick up, you're banking on a touchdown, or the one with the highest upside is Fant. So I'm picking Fant up, and this is just gun to head. I'm picking Fant up, and I'm dropping Singletary. God, this is so bad. It hurts me just to say this, man. That's rough.
It is a little rough. Yeah. I think I'm with you, especially with Zach Moss back. I think Singletary takes a little bit of a hit in value, so he's the one I'm dropping as well. All right, Ryan, got a trade question for you. This is a 12-team half-point PPR. He's giving up Kareem Hunt, Preston Williams, and Jamal Williams, and he's getting Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Tyler Boyd. What do you do with that trade there?
Yeah, I actually like that trade. I think Tyler Boyd is an upgrade for Preston Williams. He gets nice volume there. Joe Burrow's really showed he likes in this upcoming offense. Miles Sanders and Hunt are close for me, but in the future, Sanders is healthy, or Sanders is back and healthy. Nick Chubb comes back, so that kind of puts the damper on Hunt. And Boston Scott gives you that handcuff, so you're good either way, compared to Jamal Williams, who's just kind of useless. So, yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think Miles Sanders, to me, is a little bit better than Hunt. Boston Scott, with the value that you have owning Sanders, is better than Jamal Williams. And Tyler Boyd, of course, is better than Preston Williams. So I think at all three positions, you win that. So, yeah, I'm definitely doing that trade as well. We do have one more question from YouTube asked by Jay. He was offered Josh Jacobs and Hollywood Brown for A.J. Brown, PPR. What are you doing with that one, Hamid?
Even if you take out Marquise Brown, I'm not making that trade. Josh Jacobs is his ceiling. He's easily the best player in this trade. So, and his ceiling is by far the highest of any of these players. I'm not trading Josh Jacobs by himself for that, let alone with Marquise Brown.
I thought he was getting Josh Jacobs.
Oh, wait, is he getting Josh Jacobs?
Well, it doesn't really. It's not really clear. It just says was offered. Yeah, I guess was offered Jacobs in Hollywood for A.J. Brown.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he's.
I would have smashed accept before that even.
That's a hard
before that.
accept.
Yeah, I'd hit accept before that person had second thoughts. You have to make that deal.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think that he shouldn't even put that question in the chat. He should have just hit accept because I agree 100%.
I hope that guy is listening in.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right, it's time for the Forgotten Fantasy Player.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, Hamid, let's see what you got. Who is your Forgotten Fantasy Player this week?
You know, this is, and again, I started playing fantasy football in 2014, so my forgotten player is Percy Hardin. He was the first guy. He's the first impact guy that I've ever drafted in my leagues ever. And there was a game that I'll never forget about Percy Hardin. They were playing the Jets. He had 3 touchdowns called back in the same game.
Wow.
I lost that week by 2 points.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yes.
Yeah, Percy Hardin, man. I remember that. I remember how good he was, man. I wish he would have stayed in the league longer and been healthy.
Yeah, unfortunately, injuries, derailed his career, and just the talent. You don't see that much anymore from players today. He was kind of an do-it-all wide receiver. He could carry the ball. He could run. He was very good. He didn't have great hands, but he was very fast. He was very good with his routes, and he even returned kickoffs as well, and did some punt returning as well. So you don't see that much anymore from players today. So I do miss that about players that we don't see a whole lot of today.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great one there. I don't think we've had that one on the show yet, but Percy Hardin is definitely a good one. And Gertz wanted me to make sure that he got this in before we got out of here. He wants you to know, Hamid, that he's your number one fan, and he says don't ever wear pink on live TV unless it's breast cancer awareness. So, all right, let's go around the room real quick. Tell us where we can follow everybody at, and plug anything you want to plug. Ryan, I'll go to you first tonight.
Follow me on Twitter at RyanCFoss at Foss534. Check me out here every Wednesday night at Going for Two. Find me at the Dynasty Draft Room on Tuesday nights. We do all Dynasty podcasts there. So only talking about that stuff, so no week previews, anything like that, but just real great trade stuff.
All right, good stuff. Hamid.
You can find me on Twitter at Junkie85. I'm also a contributor on GoingFor2.com for Dynasties buy low, sell high on a weekly basis. I'm also on our War Room Monday morning shows at 11:30 to 12:30, where we talk about who your start sits, your DFS plays of the week, and of course all the latest news and updates for that week.
All right, good stuff. As always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. I do have something in store for the month of November. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but it's going to be a DFS contest for charity once again. So be on the lookout for that. I'll hopefully announce it on next week's show. But for Hamid, for Ryan, I'm Jeff. We'll see y'all next week.